over some cybersecurity today, and I'm gonna start recording.
I think I did it.
Oh, you did? Oh, perfect.
Live.
All right. So yeah, so cybersecurity is super, super helpful. It's just best to always, keep yourself, but also your client in mind when it comes to all this type of information. So we're going to kind of dive into some helpful tools that we use and some tips and tricks and what's the most important. So we really want to just, our objectives of doing this class is we're about to head into the busy season. A lot of people, get caught up in just the fast tracking of getting contracts done and deals closed. And sometimes that's exactly when terrible stuff happens, like getting hacked. So we just want everyone to understand the value and purpose behind why protecting your accounts is important for yourself, but also your clients. You withhold basically their whole life during these transactions. And then to just develop a better understanding of the tools that are free and out there for you to use to protect yourself. And then how to properly implement cybersecurity into your business, just as an everyday habit. All right, so what are your goals? Everyone should have goals in mind, especially for attending classes. So we just want to make sure that you are aware to keep your business safe, protect yourself, protect your clients. Those are some great goals to start with. All right, so we're first going to start with network security, which is kind of an overview of that is your internet server that you're using. If you're in Remax offices, our offices, you are secure by Howard Tech. So we have them in place to secure all of our systems. However, it's very easy to hack home networks. So what that means is people who are trying to hack into your network at your home, if you don't have a secure password, like a lot of people change it to like their birth date or their kids' names, when really, like, I know it's a pain, but keeping the password that's like 9AQR52, it's so annoying. I have it at my house, but we've always just left it that way because it's secure. People usually can't guess the letters and numbers that they've put in place for your passwords. So just recognizing that your home security network should be very secure as well. We're not saying you need to go out and purchase some huge security package, but just be mindful of changing that password in frequency with your other passwords. And then next is avoid using free Wi-Fi. We all, love to go and sit at a coffee shop and, do a deal or go and meet someone for lunch and we're working or whatever it might be. Just try to avoid the free Wi-Fi because that is easily hacked as well, especially if there's no password or anything like that. I know Panera, Starbucks, they don't require passwords for theirs. So that is not a secure network to be using. You can always use your phone as a hotspot in opposed to using the free Wi-Fi.
Right. And on that too, the way that they're able to get in I'm sure people know this as well, but when you access that network, then you're creating basically a tunnel toward it. And when it's not secure, then that tunnel goes both ways. And people specifically target coffee shops, the Starbuckses and stuff like that for getting onto people's computers. And you wouldn't even really notice it, honestly. So
Yeah, I could literally be the person sitting next to you at the coffee shop.
right. And then when you got your client's information, whatever it may be, it's as realtors, you have everything. So yeah, that's how that goes.
All right. So a really good way to avoid that type of stuff is to have strong passwords. So you're gonna want to already have strong passwords in place. Um, and then there's also the two-factor authentication method.
Really quick, could you explain a little bit about what a strong password might entail?
Yeah, and I'm not the best at doing this. I've realized this from learning, from preparing for this class. So a strong password is going to be at least 12 characters, a mix of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. And it's like, I'm terrible with this, but don't put like your pet's name plus like,
Your birth date.
yeah, your birth date. Because that stuff is like someone could look at your social media account and find out your dog's name and your birth date, and then they put that together and bam, they're into your accounts. So yeah, a strong password might be like, your grandmother's first initial mixed with a number, mixed with another initial, a sign or a symbol, a number again, stuff like that. Like, you don't want it to actually be words. You want it to just be a mixture of letters and numbers. And another thing, Yanni can take this up with his brother.
He uses the patterns or whatever.
The patterns, yes. Don't do the patterns. But yeah, so the patterns on the keyboard are also easily, hackable, because you're not the first person to figure that out, that's, it might be easy to remember, but it's easy to hack too.
And for anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's basically like finding a section of 4 letters on the keyboard and having a pattern to go around them. And then when you change it, you just change that to another section on the keyboard. So it could be like the NJKM section, and it'll be like a combination of those numbers, and it's always consistent. So then you move it over to VGHB on the keyboard or whatever. But yeah, I'm with Megan on this. I would say patterns and stuff like that. I know it's difficult to come up with some things. Sometimes I like the idea of using a very random word, and kind of like splitting it in half and reversing the backside of it or something like that. So it could be like dude, and it's DU, numbers in between, and then ED at the end with exclamation ampersand or something like that. And I throw an ampersand in basically just because I like to say it. It's a fun word. So it's the and sign, I believe. So yeah, throw a couple of those in there.
Okay. And so yeah. So two-factor authentication is when you have to use more than one method. So more than just a password. So it will require your password at first, but then it's also going to say, let me send you a text message and get a code. I know for my Gmail account, it requires that. Even just our CRM requires that, which is important information. You don't want people getting a hold of your contacts. So it's highly important to always use a two-factor authentication method, because they can't, so say they do get that password, they then are not going to be able to get into your phone to get the code that was texted to you before it expires. So if there's options on Facebook, Instagram, almost all email servers to enable the two-factor authentication mode. Even my Amazon account requires it. So it's definitely something that is super helpful, but there's also another form of a second two-factor authentication mode, and that's going to be an authentication app. And so what that is it's an app that generates numbers and holds your passwords for you. And what it's going to do is when you try to log into an account, it's going to give you a generated number to type in to verify that it's you trying to get into your account. And those numbers are going to change all the time. I think most are like 10 seconds you get, 15 maybe.
Right. And
Yeah.
anybody that's used like Safe NMLS or something, Tammy, you might have used that at some point or whatever, bank code. They had a fob basically, and you'd press a button and it would auto generate a number. This is basically the same thing, but it's through an application on your phone, and we'll go through it, but it makes it really easy to have them all set up in one location. And one more thing on passwords too. I know, and I'm not the best at this either, but so they should be updated quarterly at the very least. And I know everybody's like, quarterly. And what am I gonna? But when you get hacked, you're just like, oh, well, that 5 seconds that it took me to update the password is cool. And then to have them saved somewhere is wise. The other thing, and I know there's some grumbles about this, but you shouldn't have the same password across all platforms, because some are less secure than others. For example, uh, Canva, if you have the same password for Canva or something like that, they will take that and then with your email combination and try it in anything that they can try it, Bank of America, anything like that. So some of these sites that maybe not quite as secure as something like a Bank of America or, some of these free sites that we do the free trial for and create a password, but it's the same password that we use for our bank account and our, retirement account or whatever. So yeah, it is important to vary them and change them often. And I
Absolutely.
know that's a headache, but it's such a great preemptive type of strike. I've seen people's emails get hacked, and it is not pleasant when your 1,000 people that you've email you back saying, "Hey, what is this link?" It might be a decent way to prospect, but I don't think people are going to trust you that much after that.
So accurate. I mean, that is like the only one good thing that can come out of getting hacked. But when you weigh it with what else comes out of getting hacked,
Right,
it's not worth it.
right.
All right. So moving on to the authenticators. So here's a couple that we have tested out, kind of done some research on for you guys. So Yanni uses the Google Authenticator. We won't look at the ratings on that one. He claims it's great. And then the other one that I found that was the two that were highly, highly recommended was the OTP Authenticator and the Microsoft Authenticator. And again, these are those models that they're all apps on your phone, by the way. These are the, generator of the different numbers so that, it keeps all your different passwords in there and safe, but then it generates a code for you. So this is actually really helpful too, in the sense of once you put your password in there and it generates the code for you, you no longer have to keep remembering your password. So I know with the OTP authenticator, it like has you go in and sign in to all of your different accounts, and then you it kind of saves those passwords, and then it gives you like a generated code to be able to get into that account opposed to using your password. So that can be super helpful too, because it stores your passwords for you. Because I know forgetting passwords is a headache too for a lot of people, including
And a
myself.
lot of people have the autofill going on as well,
I
for
do.
their sites, and it's beneficial. I would only do that if you use the two-factor. And like you said, the base level is like getting a text. But I've learned I started with that kind of stuff, and I've found an authenticator app to be way more efficient, than having to get the text and then copying it. Liddell, you have a question? Go for it. Oops. Did I mute you? Shoot. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you get one of these apps, and so what it's doing is changing your password that you currently have for whatever product. And then when you go into it the next time, it's going to put in a random password
No,
each time you go.
no, it'll your password will remain the same, but it'll just add this second layer of security. So it will ask for your password, and it would be the same in the site, like Gmail, and then it'll ask for the auto-generated number, or the number that was sent to you via text. If you're gonna, but if you're using the app, you'd put the password in, and then it'll ask for the number, which is auto-generated in the app.
So it's
So
a double,
correct.
it's creating its own double thing.
Right. That's why they call it
Authentication.
two-factor authentication. So you can have the two, and it's not just leaving it up just to the password, because that stuff isn't as secure.
Oh, okay.
So it's another layer. So that way, when you go to log in, you use your password as always, but then it's going to say, hey, we need this information too. And without it, even if they have your password, they can't get in. And a lot of times you'll get notified that somebody's trying to access something, and you can put a stop to it right away.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Yanni, it looks like Tammy has a question in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, this definitely can be used with iPhones. So I'm all for Apple and iPhones, and I have Apple everything, but Microsoft, no, I'm sorry, not Microsoft. Google showed us this slideshow. This was the option for putting a picture on a phone.
Oh, because the phone itself is not an iPhone, Tammy. Is that why? I got you. Yeah, absolutely. iPhone for sure. That's what I use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad you found it. Yeah, definitely iPhone. Team Apple. All right, so now we're going to go over email security, and this is huge because I learned something that I didn't even know was a thing about people hacking into your email and then hiding stuff in folders. Like, we all have 50,000 folders that we probably don't go through all the time. And I realized in the settings, there was a way that someone could set up an email. So if it came back from a certain person, it could automatically get hidden into a folder. So you never saw it. It never went to your inbox, stuff like that. So email security settings is just huge when it comes to this. So actually more than 60% of the emails you receive fall into spam, phishing, or unsolicited and unwanted emails. And it's like the #1 spread of internet viruses. So basically, a great thing that we're going to put into place is a quarterly email that goes out to all of our agents saying, hey, this is your reminder to change your passwords, check your email settings, check your Facebook settings, all of that. And if you need help with this, please reach out to us. But we want to put that reminder in place automatically because these things can get easily changed around, and it's super important. So this is just an example because we use Gmail as a company, but in your settings and inbox category, you will have social and promotions categories where stuff is automatically filtered out for you and put into a promotions category. So it's basically like spam. But then there is also a spam folder. So with that, it's basically putting everything that you don't want to see into one folder, or anything that is mass marketed, meaning even the emails we send out through our CRM are going into this category automatically and never making it to your inbox. However, the more that you tell the system this is not spam or this is spam, and pull things out and check your promotions and your spam folder, the more the server will automatically update itself now and detect this kind of stuff automatically of what is spam and what isn't spam. So it's important to not only update your settings, but also remove unwanted things from your inbox to spam, and remove things from spam or promotions to your inbox that you do want. And the more you do it, like I said, these are all very high-tech smart systems nowadays that they're going to start recognizing it and stop putting these emails that you want into junk or spam. So that is definitely a huge piece of keeping yourself from getting hacked, is having this system automatically recognize certain, red flags. And anything that is being sent out on a CRM is automatically going to get flagged as spam. We've done so much research on how to get around it, and you just can't. So that is why it's important to go in and check what is going to spam.
Right. And it goes to spam because of the photos or how many people it's sent to. These systems kind of recognize this stuff now, and we're working on getting around it. But yeah, I mean, email is definitely something that gets flooded, which is why we talk about connecting with people via text a lot these days, and sending personalized video messages to clients or recruits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
then
a
the
it's
other,
a way to touch them. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. The other piece is the filtered and blocked addresses. That is what you should also be checking up on, because that is how people can have certain settings put into place. So say I put Yanni under my blocked email addresses or my filtered. So if I did that, then I either wouldn't receive emails from Yanni if I blocked him, or if I filtered his emails and put filters into place, then it would say, like, hypothetically, if I told the filter, if Yanni emails me, automatically put it in the, marketing folder instead of my inbox, I would never see those emails come in unless I was every day checking my marketing folder. So that is how people are hacking emails, is they're going in, they're going to the filtered setting, they're creating a filter saying every time this person emails or this person responds, put it in this folder way hidden down here under 75 other inboxes that you have, and then you never see it. So unless you're checking every single folder you have every single day, you're not going to know if someone's hacked you. So always check your filters and your blocked addresses as well, and just make sure that no filters have been put into place. That actually happened to one of our agents.
And for all this stuff, we know it's a kind of a broad brush, and this shows the Gmail account here on the screen, but please set up a meeting with Megan if you have any questions, because it's important to go through this. And I know everybody's setup is going to be a little bit individual, and there's a lot of moving parts to it, and there's a lot of accounts to keep an eye on. But email is probably one of the big, aside from your kind of bank account type of information, email is massive. So
yeah, especially because a lot of times your clients are emailing documents to you through email or scanning them to your email.
Right.
All right, so now we're going to go into Facebook scams. This is like huge.
Raise your hand if you've been a victim of a Facebook scam before.
I've received some. I've never personally been hacked, but
right. But yeah. So it's definitely very prevalent out there, and people are definitely targeted in our industry, I believe, because of our access to clients' information.
Absolutely. So the best thing I can always say is don't open any type of Facebook message if you don't know who it's from, or if it sounds weird in the oncoming preview that you receive for the message. If it doesn't sound right, just delete it. Facebook is not a secure form of communication. It shouldn't be used really for any type of client information. It's just the, hey, how's it going? If it's anything past that, I wouldn't be using that as a form of communication. Don't send documents over that. Don't invest too much into using that as a communication piece. I know it is there and it's easy, to access when you don't know someone's phone number, but you can always, especially if it's, you know, agent to agent, call any of, you know, your offices. We have a roster. I'm sure it's available in Lone Wolf too. Facebook Messenger is just not like, I don't suggest it at all. And if you click on something that comes up from someone that you don't know, that's usually how you get hacked. So just clicking on it and opening it allows them to then go ahead and message all of your friends some embarrassing.
And they make it really tantalizing, right? It'll be like, you'll never guess what XYZ did, you know? And I got one a couple weeks ago from one of our agents. But I instantly just delete them. I don't click on anything that's sent to me as a link through that medium. Even in email, I question links, and I will follow back up with the person if something doesn't seem quite right. Always err on the side of caution, because we're talking about client information security here, and it's super important.
Absolutely. So another helpful thing that we're gonna say is to, and I'm gonna screen share in a second and kind of dive in a little deeper on the Facebook settings specifically, just because that's universal. Everyone uses different emails, but we can get into that today. Getting hacked is a lot of work, especially on Facebook, but you'll also notice that it's important to place the two-factor authentication in place for Facebook, because now a lot of times you're getting asked when you go to other sites, like, I don't know, maybe you're going to Amazon off of Facebook. Someone posted something, said it's great, raved about it, and you're like, oh, let me see. So you click on that, then you have to sign into your Amazon account, right? But it'll say, do you want to use your Facebook login to sign in to Amazon? So now you're basically giving access from Facebook to your Amazon account. And so now if someone hacks just one source, your Facebook, they're getting access to everything else that you've ever asked, do you want to sign in through Facebook? Which I've done it too, because it just seems easier, and I don't want to create an account, and I don't want to, you know, have to make another password that I'm not going to remember. So we just say, okay, let's sign in through Facebook or sign in through Gmail. I personally need to walk myself through this class of cleaning up my own stuff. But anyways, when you do that, you're giving Facebook access to all that information. So if Facebook gets compromised, everything else that you have given access to is also going to be compromised. So we're going to go into, let me get this mouse to work, some of the settings on Facebook, and just kind of review really quick. I'm going
to stop my share.
Gosh. Yep.
All right.
Okay. So let me get rid of this. In your settings, which you can access right up here, settings and privacy, and we're first going to go into settings. You're just going to want to make sure that all of this information is correct. And then we're going to go into security and login. So it will literally tell you, like, I've had someone try to get into my Facebook before, and it'll tell you what state they're trying to, like, where they're at hypothetically. So see, I'm on a Mac right now and I'm active. And then it's saying an iPad was logged in 16 hours ago. So you can see all of the activity. And if it's suspicious, you can obviously report that and change your password. So log in, save your login information. This is where you can update the two-factor authentication. I'm going to say login from an unrecognized device or browser. So then you can authorize people to log in too. apps for passwords, which is going to be one of those authenticators, setting up extra security, choose 3 to 5 contacts if you get locked out, encrypted notification emails. All of this is good to hop on into and just update. They're pretty self-explanatory, but like we said, you can always reach out and ask us. You can even do face recognition, which is pretty nice.
That's big on these new iPhones and everything like that. Just it used to be thumbprint for a bit with the older ones, but everything's going facial recognition, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. But it's funny. My mom has a new phone, and I can get into her phone with my face. So I don't know how accurate they are.
Right. It's some type of photo thing that picks a number of unique points. But I'm with you. I don't love that feature, the face one. I would prefer typing it in. But.
Exactly. Okay, so this is important too, of how people can find you. So this will let you know what's public. If you're an agent, I would suggest having all of these on. That's also like a cool feature that people can type your phone number in, your email, that kind of stuff to find you on Facebook. How you can get messages is important as well. So if you have this on, so I would suggest leaving that people who aren't your friend on Facebook have to request to send you a message, which means you have to approve it to come into your inbox first. Because like one common thing we get on Instagram is like, do you want to be a brand ambassador and, you know, promote this stuff for us? And before it even comes into our inbox, it's in our requests, and we can see in the request section that it is asking for something that we're not interested in, we don't want to accept, and we can just delete it before it ever gets put into our inbox in our account and allows them to even have any type of access to us. It kind of stays in like this waiting period area off to the side. So you're going to want to make sure that these settings are up to date as well, so that not everyone has access to just send you a message directly into your inbox. All right. Profile and tagging, this is always a good one too, because this can basically suggest what other people can put on your page, which can be things that, you know, if random people can post on your page, they can post stuff that others, like your friends on Facebook, can click and get hacked. So who can post on your profile? Friends. Who can see what others post on your profile? Friends. Allow others to share. That's fine. And then tagging. So people, you want to put into place that people can tag you. However, you want to put on the review setting. So then you have to approve them to be able to put this on your page. So basically they post it and then you get a notification saying, yes, this can go on my page. Or if it's something that's not appropriate, looks like it's fake or phishing, stuff like that, then you can just decline it.
Highly recommend the review feature, because like Megan's saying, a lot of people just like to tag folks and it'll automatically post onto your page. So you know, you want to have control over what is being portrayed as something on your page, because then it connects back to you. So it's important to have the review on. I use review for sure. Not everything I'm tagged in do I allow to just go up on my page. So yeah, I think it's wise, especially for your brand and your marketing, that vision and everything like that. You want to have a very clean look. And if you're getting tagged in memes every other day or something like that, and your page is flooded with that kind of stuff, then it doesn't come off as professional.
Yes, absolutely. So here is one homework tip we're going to assign to everyone since they joined the class. And this is going to be, I'm going to show exactly how I went in. So this is something that, again, you're going to want to do every 3 months. But you're going to go up here to the right to the account, and you're going to go to settings and privacy, and you're going to do a privacy checkup. And so Facebook automatically is going to review everything you have on there and do a checkup for you. So you can go into each of these different features and see who can see what you share. We'll walk through the options to make sure your settings are right for you. So it says, who can see my phone number? Well, I'm not an agent, so only me should be able to see my phone number. Who can see my birthday, my friends, all this kind of stuff. So it'll walk you through each setting, how to keep your account secure. Your password is okay. I know, mine's bad. We're gonna fix that. Turn on two-factor authentication, turn on login alerts. So those are all things you're gonna wanna do. So it'll prompt you to go ahead and change your password and then turn on two-factor authentication. And then it's also gonna say, if someone tries to sign in from a different device, meaning like if I go to my work computer and try to log into Facebook, how do I want them to tell me? Do I want them to text my phone? That's probably the smartest way. Obviously, you're not going to want them to put it on your Facebook, because if they just got in, then they're going to obviously accept it, delete it, hide it. You're never going to know. So text message at my phone number would be the best option. So we'll put that into place. And it says, okay, you're all set. Review another topic. So then you can go into your data settings, which is also going to be, these are all of those apps I was talking about that I have logged in through Facebook with them. So say I have, I don't think any of these are accurate. Cars.com, my Remax account, definitely remove that. But anyways, I would essentially want to remove all of these. Pinterest is probably fine. I don't have anything on there. But Groupon, I don't think I've ever purchased anything, but if I had, they could have my bank account information through there, stuff like that. So if my Facebook got hacked, these are all those accounts that could be compromised as well.
And I will say Facebook does have agreements with certain companies, so they'll have like auto connections and stuff like that. And this stuff is literally updated constantly. The privacy checkup, I mean, relatively new in the scope of Facebook's history. And it's something that they're constantly evolving because they know that there's issues with it, or they know that people are targeted in this medium. So they are doing what they can to help mitigate stuff like that.
Yeah. And then if you're running Facebook ads as well, you're going to want to walk through that. I am not, so it's not going to show you anything, but that is a key point to that. And then here through privacy shortcuts, you can also go through and review any extra things that you, it's kind of the same as the checkup, but if you missed a section or want to go back through here, settings, again, privacy checkup or privacy shortcuts to do a quick overview. So this, excuse me, this is where all of that information is going to be able to be updated and kept safe and secure. All right. I think that is all I've got for Facebook.
Okay. Take us back. We're going to finish up with everybody's favorite topic, encryption, data encryption. I feel it. I see it in everybody's eyes. They're like, I love data encryption. It fascinates me. It is extremely, extremely important as we kind of are focused on securing not only our information, but almost more importantly, when in this context, our clients' information. When we're sending things back and forth and making sure that it's done in a secure way, that it can't be intercepted easily.
Yes, absolutely. So encrypting sensitive data, it's important, and for sure. One of the easiest ways that I've seen a lot of our agents in the office just avoid putting anything in an email. So when you are using our scanners, they are secured going out. Once that document has been scanned outside of, from us to your email, that is when it becomes all on you. So the security of your email is then up to you as far as keeping that document safe. So if someone hacked your email and got into that, they then have all your clients' information, wiring instructions, all of that. So if you send documents directly into your dot loop, or the loop that you have created for that specific account, you're then avoiding any type of errors or ways for their information to be taken from your email or anything like that. And so usually I would say all of our processors are pretty well trained on how to scan documents directly into dot loop accounts. But that makes it a whole lot easier. So that will avoid your email from, having super sensitive data in it. But then also there are different types of document systems that you can use to encrypt the data itself as well before you send it. And then it requires, a name, an email, a password to get in and be able to use or view that document.
And people have used this kind of stuff before. I see Tammy nodding. If you're getting documents from, a mortgage company, for instance, there's probably some level of encryption on there. And then you're kind of forced to log in to access the documents. Probably your tax people send documents in some type of way where it's stored in a secure server file and stuff like that. So that's kind of the gist of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it also keeps a log because you have to type your name in, and it keeps record of who accessed it when at what time. And that is definitely a key part to keeping your clients' data as well as your own secure. So is that I want to say that's the end, right? You're on mute. Yanni, you're on mute.
I was intentionally on mute. I was on the phone for sure. Wasn't talking to you all, outlining a bunch of really important information. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, that was the last slide, and we have time for some questions and stuff like that. Tammy Andrews, who's with Motto Mortgage, mentioned they're finding more and more wired fraud interceptions through agent emails that are not protected. We've seen that kind of stuff within our own company. So it's really important to try to follow the protocol as much as possible. And I know Miss Sean Bassford in our Columbia office is really big on wiring instructions and making sure that they're only taken from her specifically, so there's not, I'm not going to send you an email with these instructions. It's setting expectations with your clients and everything like that to ensure their security. Makes them feel good also, and it's important.
And then another thing that we didn't really touch on, but is looking into different ways to secure your email account itself. So like having just a .gmail account isn't necessarily like the best way to go about it. Having an account that you pay for through, and you can through Outlook, Gmail, that sort of stuff, you can enable more higher security settings on those email accounts through them. Especially if you wanted to, I think that's when they give you the feature to customize, your email to not say @gmail.com. But with that, you're enabling a higher level of security into your email itself. And there's a less possibility of getting hacked.
Liddell, all right.
I have my own website, so my address is ludell@ludell.com. How do I secure that website address?
So you are holding that domain name through a domain provider, and that is an option where you can purchase a higher level of security for not only your domain website name, but also your email server. So your email server is through them. And so you would just reach out to them and ask them to make sure, your security is all up to date. And we can also set up a one-on-one and get into that account and take a look at what it is, and, with Maria and myself, and set up, just reviewing of what security is already put into place, but also how to upgrade that just to be sure that it is safe.
Marvelous. I'd like to do that.
Absolutely.
So your domain that you have, what email provider do you use? Do you know?
Microsoft 365.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a good one. That's secure stuff. So that's where the settings would be through. It would be through your Office 365 account, and yeah, Megan and Maria could certainly walk through and make sure that you're all tightened up. Nobody's getting your emails. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you have a domain like that, you're essentially forwarding emails from who's hosting your domain name, and then it's forwarding it to your account. So you definitely want to have security on both sides, just to be sure. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Mr. J. Hall saying, when I had paper files, nobody was getting into those. Right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's pros and cons with technology. So we try to take and use the best of it, and the convenience. And you're able to send files instantly instead of having to take them or FedEx them. And there's the other side of the paper files and people's perception of security there. It's just some person walking outside with a bag of your stuff, of files. It's just a guy in a truck delivering packages. So it's definitely a balance, but if you take the proper precautions, and it's a constant vigilance that it takes, and I know it's stressful for a lot of our agent population, but that's why we're here, to help everybody through it, to set up these meetings. We can walk through your accounts individually and make sure that you're as secure as you should be. Because Ludell was telling us a little bit about an experience at L&F where their entire email server got hacked, and for a month they didn't even have access to a lot of information and stuff like that. And that happens at the larger scale, but it can happen at smaller scales too. People are very intensely looking for vulnerabilities in people's security. And most often, I know from my experience with my grandmother, they know who they're going after sometimes, that certain demographics are targeted more intensely. And there's pressure techniques that are used to try to make you think that it's something that it's not. Like, oh, the police, it seems really official. Go ahead, Becky. Oh. Can't unmute you. I think you're still muted. Can you unmute? There you go.
Oh, am I there now?
You're good. You're good.
Okay. So a couple times a year, I was hacked with Long and Foster, and I think they went after me primarily because I was a manager, and it happened with a lot of the management team there. And it was like such a regular occurrence. But what was really scary is how sophisticated they were and how they made it look like the emails were coming from me. Like it would look like my email address, and then when you would go back and look at what it actually was, it was just some random strange email address. And they would go as far as asking agents to pay a bill, and the bills would start little. And Ludell and Chris and Kyle can vouch for this one. They would come in like different increments of money, and then go out to my entire email address book. So it is very scary, and I think that it can happen to anybody. And having had it happen, and you know what, I want to say kudos to you and Megan, Yanni, because it doesn't happen to us. It's not a regular occurrence for us. It's amazing how this company works and protects us, and that you guys are up to date on all of the new ways to stay ahead of them. And everybody on this call should feel really lucky, because not all companies keep their agents up to date like you guys are. And I just want to say hats off to you for doing this and putting the time in and protecting us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Becky. Yeah, that's the goal. We want to make sure that people have the tools and feel comfortable and secure. We have seen some people try to act like they're Alex, right, and send out text messages. But the important thing is to look at the number. When it comes to texting, first off, Alex will never text you asking for gift cards. For like Google Play, because he doesn't really even know what Google Play is. So that's your first giveaway. But so yeah, what they do is, because everybody's number is published, right? And it as agents, that's what you want. So they are able to capture our entire roster, use just a random number, and typically it's not even a local exchange or anything like that. And they will say, "Hi, this is Alexander K. Carvasilis." Just, it sounds really off. And if there's ever any question, even if you might think it's him, shoot it our way. We'll be happy to vet it, especially because the alternative is just you getting scammed out of money and possibly worse, possibly your clients and whatever. So send it our way.
Absolutely. Just a key fact that I did learn, I worked at a doctor's office prior to here. And one thing that I learned is with your health insurance, your bank accounts, anything like that, the likely possibility that they're going to call you is 0 to none. They're going to mail it to you. Anything you need to know, they're going to send in the mail. Even Google Business, they won't call to validate because they know how unsecure that is. And so one thing I always tell people too is if you are on your phone and you see a number come up that you don't know, the biggest thing the biggest mistake is, I tell my mom this like every day because she drives me nuts with it, is she answers these scam calls and then she'll yell at them and tell them to stop calling her. And I'm like, no, the more you answer, the more they sell your phone number. So just, if it's important, if it's a 1-800 number or something, that you think might maybe be the doctor's office or something like that, let it go to voicemail. If it's important, they will leave a voicemail. But the more you pick up these scams, the more they're selling your information. So deleting it, not answering, blocking, best choice. Like I said, if it's super important information, they're going to find a different alternative mechanism to contact you, or they're going to leave you a voicemail. And then you can filter through that, and block those numbers accordingly. But yeah, like I said, don't pick up those calls. Oh my gosh, they just sell your number more and more and more.
And it's tough, I know, as an agent, because you're thinking, hey, could this be a client or whatever? I think it's important to make sure your outgoing message sets expectations properly. Shirley Matlock, I think, has one of the best in the game, where she updates it constantly, but she's telling you, hi, basically setting the expectation. Hi, this is Shirley. I will be returning calls between 5 and 7 p.m. today, whatever it may be. That way you feel a little bit more comfortable letting that go to voicemail. I mean, if it's an exchange, nowadays you can tell on most phones, it'll say, Laurel or C for Delaware or whatever it is. So those are probably safer, but like the 866s from North Dakota, you might want to let that one run to voicemail and then check it out. But again, with clients, we know it's nerve-wracking to let things go to voicemail or to not respond or answer right away. But as long as expectations are set, I think most people are really understanding of that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point to getting around that. But yeah, does anyone have any other questions about security or even anything marketing?
Awesome. That means we did an absolutely perfect job and everybody has absorbed all the information. Thanks so much for coming and chatting with us this morning. We're going to keep trying to come up with timely things like this that not only for just marketing, but anything digital and information security is a really, really big one these days. We see it, especially as Megan said in the beginning, with the busy season coming up. And people are just kind of on the move, and we're so mobile and so willing to send things here and there, but it's okay to take a minute and do it the right way, because I think that'll help you on the long term. And that way we're not running into a situation where you have to explain to your client why they're $300,000 is in thin air. And now we have to go through this whole process of bringing in the FBI. I mean, it's no joke when 6 figures gets ousted like that.
And they will ask for it. In
Right.
that hacking, they asked me for the money, the down payment to a settlement that I had, and it looked like it came from me. But luckily, I had a good, reputable title company that the client knew what they were supposed to do, and everybody knew that they shouldn't do it. So you have to be on top of letting your clients know that this is an issue.
That's a really great point. The title company as well, having reputable vendors and partners around you. The title company, the ones we work with on both sides of the bridge, I think are top shelf, and it's really important to educate your clients as much as possible. Like you're saying, Becky, and Sean did the same thing. Each client, she's almost extra the other way, where it's just like, look, I will never send you this. Nobody will ever send you this. And if you have anything that looks like that, send it my way first and we will address it. So yeah, expectations.
Yes.
Great point. Anybody else? All right. Well, thanks so much everybody for the time. We'll catch up soon. Anybody that has continued questions, shoot Megan, myself, Maria. You can chat with your managers or anything like that. Send them our way and we'll get your questions answered. Nikki, you show your face at the very end, but it's good to see you. It's good to see you. All right, everybody. Have a great Tuesday. I'll catch y'all later.
Great class. Thanks.
Bye-bye.